What's up, everybody? It's the Alex Leak and Friends NFL podcast, back for another week. I'm your host, Alex Leak. We got Dustin on the show. What's up, Dustin?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, good to have you back on. And we have a special guest on the show. Welcome back to Richmond Webb. For those of you that don't know, Richmond Webb played in the NFL from 1990 to 2002 with the Miami Dolphins and Cincinnati Bengals. He was a 7-time Pro Bowler and a 2-time All-Pro, as well as a member of the 1990s All-Decade Team and Miami Dolphins Honor Roll. It's an honor to have you back on, Richmond.
Hey, Alex, Dustin, how you guys doing?
We're doing great. This is awesome. Dustin, you ready to do this?
Yeah, and it's definitely an honor to be able to be on here with you today.
One of the best left tackles ever.
I appreciate that.
So let's get this started. Richmond, I know you follow the Dolphins closely after playing there for a long time. After starting 1-3 this season, they've won 5 games in a row and sit just a half game behind the Bills for the division lead. At the time, the move to bench quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick seemed poorly timed and at least a little early. But Tua has responded very impressively, 3-0 as a starter, only 1 turnover through 3 games. What are you seeing from Tua, and do you think these Dolphins actually might have playoffs on their mind this year?
Well, it's definitely 100% better than last year. And, the thing with last year, we went through a total rebuilding process. But, I think the thing that's encouraging, and I agree, when they first made the decision to switch from Fitzpatrick to Tua, I think there was a lot of questions and concerns on everybody's part because, like you said, we started out 1-3, and then we started to get momentum going. And, it kind of got leaked out that they were going to be starting Tua. And not that we knew he was the guy of the future, but when things are kind of going well, sometimes as a fan, you may question, say, why now? But I think those questions have been answered the last few weeks. What's impressive is the way the guys support each other. I see a lot of unselfishness and putting the team first, and offense, defense, everything is just really coming together, and they go out on the field with an expectation to win. You can just see the way they carry themselves, and it's just so encouraging because it's been a long time. But man, I know it's a lot of happy Dolphin fans right now.
Yeah, and that's credit to Brian Flores, right? A hell of a coaching job, and he might need to be in Coach of the Year conversation if it keeps going this way.
He definitely is, especially with the type of turnaround we've had. Him, Chris Greer, the GM, and other coaches he's assembled on his staff. It was a lot of thought process, but the thing is, even with Coach Flores and Coach Greer, even during the draft process, you never really heard one of them say, "Well, I'm responsible for this or that." They work collectively together as a team to see how they can make the Dolphins better, and I think that attitude has trickled down, and man, we're seeing big time results from it. So it's a good time to be a Dolphin fan. I can tell you that.
That's awesome. Go ahead, Dustin. You got a question?
Yeah. So on Sunday we saw the Cardinals defeat the Bills in a Hail Mary pass to DeAndre Hopkins. Do you remember a time in your career when your team lost in heartbreaking fashion, and how do you bounce back from something like that?
I mean, sometimes the thing that's kind of crazy is sometimes you can go out and play a hell of a game, and then a play like that comes back to bite you, and then other times you cannot play so well and luck up and win a game. But I think once you go back and watch the film and, you look at it and then you look at that play, it was just a hell of a play. And I would say probably 90% of the time, even higher, that pass didn't get completed. So it wasn't an effort thing. It wasn't that, we didn't play a good game or whatever. It was just the luck of the draw. And sometimes stuff like that's going to happen. But, you got to say, put that behind you and get reback focused, because if you keep dwelling on the last game, you're not going to be focused on the game you got to play this week. And that one loss can turn into 2 losses, and you don't want to start that trickle-down effect.
Absolutely. I know that well, being a Bears fan, as we're sitting on a 4-game losing streak right now. But let's go to that. Let's go to the Bears. This question. Monday night, 4-game losing streak. The Bears fall to 5-5. But the amazing thing is the Bears are also currently lead the NFL in passing attempts. Everyone says it's a passing league now, but I kind of disagree. In my opinion, the best teams in the NFL still run the ball with success and stop the run. As a former All-Pro offensive lineman, what is your take? Is football still won in the trenches in 2020?
Well, I think everything starts up front, and what I can say is I think you're seeing a lot more back when I played, we were one of the few teams that threw the ball a lot, but, that was understandable with Dan Marino.
Mm-hmm.
But you're seeing teams throw a lot, but now I can remember a couple years back, even with Tom Brady was with New England, they would run the ball sometimes, but the way that he would hit like Edelman and his little slot receivers, 5-7 yards, this and that, they used their short-term passing game as I always said, it was kind of like a running game, because he picks up just enough yardage, he keeps the clock moving, and, instead of it being a 3-play drive, they'll turn it into a, 9 to 12, 13-play drive, which keeps your defense on the field. You still achieve the same thing. You're taking time off the clock because you're slowly going down the field, but that's frustrating. And the main thing as a defense you want to do is try to force the offense to get off the field. So I think it just depends on how you use your offensive weapons or whatever. And it can be used, your short-term passing game can be used as a running game, but it still is important to run the football in the NFL.
Yeah, I agree on that 100%. Go ahead, Dustin.
All right, so tonight the 6-3 Cardinals will go to Seattle to take on the 6-3 Seahawks. Big game in the NFC West. Who do you think wins tonight, and which team do you think is going to be better down the stretch?
Yeah, that was a close game, if I remember right. A few weeks ago they played, and you got 2 dynamic quarterbacks. Russell Wilson and Kyler Murray is having an amazing season. He's been putting up numbers not only in the passing game, but, him and Russell had the ability to run and make the first downs and frustrate a defense. So you got to try to keep those guys contained. I believe you said it's at Seattle.
Yeah.
At Seattle, I'm going to lean just a little bit toward the home team. I think it'll be a close game, but I think possibly Seattle pulls this one out. But it'll be a close game.
I'm right there with you for the Seahawks. My only worry is DK Metcalf. We saw Jalen Ramsey hold him to just 2 catches last week, and Patrick Peterson held him to just 2 catches in that earlier matchup. So I'm a big DK Metcalf fan. I hope he bounces back and the Seahawks get the win.
I think he'll bounce back. I mean, he's had some incredible games, and I think it just took some defense a way to kind of figure out how do you defend a guy that's that big, that strong, and that fast. And like you said, Patrick Peterson did a good job, and Ramsey did a good job. But and I don't know if Seattle kind of, sometimes they'll use you as a decoy a little bit and not go to you as much or be as dominant. But I could see that, it's time for him to start putting up some numbers. So I wouldn't count that young man out. I've been highly impressed with him.
One more question on that. So you blocked for Hall of Fame Dan Marino, most of your career. Nowadays, the dynamic quarterback is so prevalent, and you almost have to be able to run the ball as a quarterback and pick up some yards. How much more difficult do you think it is nowadays to block a quarterback when you don't know where he's at? He's not in the pocket right there. He's not stepping up. And it's easier to, get a holding call or be out of position.
It is, but the thing is, when you got guys like Patrick Mahomes, Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, Lamar Jackson,
Mm-hmm.
The kid in Buffalo, I can't think his name.
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen.
Yep.
Those guys make Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
When you can throw and pass, and then you got the ability to make guys miss and make plays, it's frustrating. It's hard to game plan for a quarterback like that. So normally you have to, leave a guy in the spy where normally you have an extra guy in coverage. But now you don't have that guy in coverage. So now you got to say, okay, I'm going to pick my poison. Either I'm going to try to go in coverage, and if, they lose containment or whatever, and this guy scrambles, it's a first down. Or if I leave him in, then there's a possibility that if I can't get pressure on him, then, you're going to complete the pass. So
yeah,
it's 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other one. And it's just tough. But I think the league is kind of going more to a dual threat type quarterback. And, other teams are seeing guys are having success with it. And the league is kind of changing. Everybody kind of follows that bandwagon or whatever. You're still going to have some true just drop back pass quarterbacks, but they're not as prevalent as they were at one time. But I think Trevor Lawrence is probably be one that's going to come out this year that everybody's, kind of licking their lips over and stuff like that, because he's an amazing talent at Clemson. So, he'll probably be the first guy off the board.
Yeah, Burrow's a little underrated at that. I wish my Bears would go back to Mitch Trubisky because of his ability to use his legs, but you know what they say. Go ahead, Dustin.
So Tua this season has beat big names in Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, and outdueled Kyler Murray. How special do you think Tua is, and can he potentially deliver the Dolphins their first Super Bowl since the 70s?
I think he's very special. I watched him in college for 3 years, and, a lot of people were down on him because of the hip injury. But, I go back to the fact and say, if this young man didn't have a hip injury, he's the first player taken in the draft. So it was never a question of his ability. It was always a question of, could he, rehab and get back from that hip injury, and he's proven that. And the Dolphins were willing to take that chance, and I'm sure they spent a lot of times talking to the doctors and monitoring that before they chose him in the draft. But I like the way that Coach Flores is building this, and it's not so much that he's asking Tua to go out and throw the ball 50 times a game. It's almost like they're building the defense to where it's a bend don't break, and you just game manage. And there are going to be times you have to go out there and win the game, but there are going to be a lot of times where we're going to be in a position where you just game manage and don't force it, and let's just win the game that way. And that gives you a chance to develop and become a better quarterback. But when you're forced in a situation where you got to always try to win it, you'll see a lot of guys make more mistakes that way. So I love the way he's building this. And, offense coordinator Chan Gailey, he keeps adding little trinkets or whatever. Every week he adds a little bit something you see. So, okay. So they're steady feeding and adding more and more. So I'm excited. Every week is something new. So I'm definitely looking forward to this week.
Yeah, and
Go ahead.
Sorry, Tua is a proven winner, and but the long term, do you think that hip injury is gonna hold up and he's gonna be okay, or like if he decides to scramble and takes a shot, is that gonna affect his future or what?
No, I think he's scrambled a few times. I think if you're always concerned about getting hurt or whatever, a lot of times you're gonna get hurt. And I'm not saying I think he's our long-term solution. And they're going to do everything to put him in the, best situation not to get hurt. I don't think they, you do that for a player or whatever. But as long as he stays healthy, I think the way we're building it, they're building it to where we'll have an opportunity to possibly win a Super Bowl. And, I see everything coming together. I don't know if they have all the pieces, but they're definitely adding the right pieces at the right time. And I'm looking forward to, even after this season, we got a shot to make the playoffs if they continue to play pretty well. But if they add, another piece there, we keep making that progression, we'll be in position to possibly make a run for the Super Bowl. And I think everybody kind of seeing that. Might not happen this year, but I can see it as they continue to add pieces to this team and surround that young man with different weapons and stuff to where he can showcase his talent.
Yeah, and I love that defense you guys are building over there. You know, a lot of weapons, and Xavier Howard's one of my favorites. He's an excellent ball hawk corner.
Oh, no question. Yeah, he had a heck of a game. And matter of fact, this last game he had against the Chargers, you know, that interception. Mm-hmm. I think it kind of swung the momentum back our way, and we were able to go ahead and close it out. So one of the best cover corners, not scary. He's out there on the island, but, yeah, he's a beast out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Going to Sunday Night Football, one of my favorite games I've seen recently, Patriots-Ravens in Foxborough in a driving rainstorm, especially late. As a fan, I just loved every minute of that game in the bad weather. I love those kind of games. Can you remember a game in your history? You know, you played the Bills a lot. You played the Patriots in that division, the Jets. Can you remember a game that with really bad weather or some of the worst weather you remember playing in?
I can remember. I think it may have rained a couple times. I think we played one time in San Francisco against the 49ers, and it rained in old Candlestick Park. And it wasn't like a heavy torrential rain, but it was raining enough. And I can remember that the ground would get real loose and, you know, the turf would just tear away or whatever. So it was hard to kind of keep footing in that. And, you know, you got to be careful you don't get hurt or whatever. But that's what it kind of remembers. I just thought about that game there. It just seemed like with it raining the way it was and this time of year, it possibly could have been really cold with that rain. I don't know what the game was, but I was like, man, it could be really cold up there. England with that rain coming down like that. I was like, oh, no.
That's a good answer. Good story there. All right, go ahead, Dustin. You got one?
All righty. So tonight I'm asking a lot of questions about these young quarterbacks. So let's go to Kyler Murray. What do you see in Kyler Murray when you watch him play? And does he, in your opinion, have that factor to be an all-time great quarterback in the NFL?
Oh, no question. You know, the thing about it was when I went to Texas A&M, I actually played with Kyler's dad, Kevin Murray, and he was a quarterback. And by the time he got there a couple of years before I did, but Kevin Murray was the same type player. He just broke his ankle before I got there and had to rehab. So that really turned him more into a pocket passer. But before that, he's a little taller, a little bigger than Kyler, but he really groomed his son and got him ready. And he reminds me a lot of his dad, the way he throws the football and stuff. Is just he has that ability to run and make people miss. And his dad was the same type player, except, you know, he broke his ankle. So I'm highly impressed, and I kind of favor because, you know, I played with his dad or whatever, so I'm always happy to see, you know, especially if somebody, you know, personally like that, their son go out and play the way he's played. Because a lot of people question his size and stuff coming into the NFL and saying he should have played baseball, but he got out there and started making plays and stuff like that. And now you're hearing talk about him possibly being in the MVP, possible candidate for MVP of the, you know, NFL or whatever. So it just shows to show you can't count anybody out. But I'm definitely happy for that young man.
That's very cool, and he's got a rocket of an arm. It's crazy for a guy that size. His arm is ridiculous.
Oh, no question. Yeah, he can go down the field, and even when, you know, when he was at A&M, and then he ended up transferring and playing behind what's my man at Cleveland? Baker.
Yeah,
Baker. And, you know, Baker wins the Heisman, and then next thing you know, he comes right on the map and then does it again. So it's just, you know, make it look like Lincoln Riley's quarterback guru, and then he had Jalen Hurts after that, and he really improved his, you know, throwing mechanics and stuff like that. But to have two back-to-back Heisman Trophy winners, that was just amazing. 2 number 1 picks. So
I could see Lincoln Riley ended up in the NFL pretty soon.
That's what I said too.
Dustin, you got another question?
Yeah. So despite the record of the Bengals being 2-6-1, the Cincinnati has appeared to have found their, star franchise quarterback in Joe Burrow. How far do you think in the future he could take the Bengals and possibly maybe to a Super Bowl?
He could. I'm gonna tell you. I've watched that young man and watched him at LSU, and they had a great season. Went undefeated, won a national championship. But he's shown his skill set. The thing the Bengals has got to do is just build around him, put the right tools around him, and that makes a world of difference. But it's no question he's a great player. And I thought it was a great story that, the Bengals drafted him, and he's actually from Ohio. So, they just, people want to support him. They're happy for him, and he's happy to be back home, playing in front of, the home crowd. He's not far from Cincinnati. But build that team and surround him with weapons to where he can be successful. I think he's shown he's that caliber of player. He just needs some help. And if you get him some help, that'll change everything.
It's a great answer. So we'll end it on here. Do you notice a big difference from when you played to now on the quarterback protection rules? I'm sure you do. Me as a fan, I do. The roughing the passer penalties, in the grass for whistles, body weight penalty. You can hardly touch these quarterbacks today, and some are even being rewarded now for flopping along the sidelines, like anticipating contact. What do you think of the NFL and the progression of how they're officiating the quarterbacks in the pocket and on the run?
Yeah, I think the thing is that, you're going to protect your investment. And majority of the time, it's not all 32 teams, but majority of the time, your quarterback is probably going to be, if not the highest paid player, one of the highest paid players on the team. And you can't afford to risk that amount of money and lose that type of player. But the other thing that comes into mind is, the thing with CTE and all this knowledge and stuff. So even for other, protected defensive receivers, stuff like that, they're implementing stuff to where they want to try to make the game as safely as possible, but still be entertaining. So there's been a lot of changes based on when the way I played or whatever. But when you really look at it and say, hey, at the end of the day, or, you're able to play 10, 15 years or whatever, you want to be able to enjoy the game and remember, what happened when you did play, because if you hear about some of these guys' experiences, this and all the concussions and stuff like that, it's not a good situation. And I think, it's been enough exposure to where the league has said, hey, we got to do some things to at least try to minimize this or whatever, because it's not a good look for them if they continue to just put guys out there and just say, hey, this is what we're going to do, and we don't care about you guys. So I think they're just really trying to clean it up and make the game as safe as possible, but still being a competitive sport to where people can still enjoy the game.
Don't you wish you could get some of those calls when you played, those little hands to the face or something, trying to guard Derek Thomas or any of these guys?
Well, but it goes both ways, because every now and then my hand would go up and hit people in the face too. So it's good when they call a penalty on the other team, but it ain't no good when they call it on you. So
that's awesome. All right, Dustin, you got one more, and we'll get out of here.
Yeah. So after seeing Brady's in the same division for years, how impressed are you with Brady at 43, still having a good season in Tampa? And could you ever imagine playing into your 40s?
No, that's. I mean, I've been very impressed with him even before he left New England. But he does a great job of taking care of his body. He's had a major injury, but he was able to come back from it. But the transition from New England, learn a new system and still be successful, it just shows you. It was kind of like when Peyton Manning left Indianapolis and went to Denver. When you're a great player, I remember Joe Montana left. The 49ers went to Kansas City. You love to see guys, even though they're not with that organization, if they want to continue to play the game they love, to still be successful. And so I'm happy for him. I'm happy he's not in New England no more. That makes it hopefully a little bit better for us. And
Yeah.
no, I respect his. I mean, he's been one of the best for a long time. So I'm happy for him.
Very cool. Well, we really appreciate you taking some time to come on the show, Richmond. It's always an honor, and we're really thankful.
Hey, I appreciate you two guys, Alex, Dustin, having me on the show, and man, it was fun to do it again. And y'all have a great day.
Yeah.
Can I ask one more question?
Okay.
What's that, Dustin?
Go ahead.
Can I ask one more question?
Yes, one more.
I'm just curious, what was it like to be able to block for, Dan Marino?
Man, it was great. I'm gonna tell you, especially when I was a rookie, me and Keith came in, and when we walked in the huddle, I'm in the huddle with Dan Marino and then Mark Clayton. These are guys that I used to watch on Monday Night Football, and now you made the transition from college and you actually in the huddle with them. But I think early on, I think what really impressed me was, I want to say we were playing maybe like Cleveland or something. And, in practice, you practice the 2-minute drill and, you go through it. I guess that's why you practice it, because you got to simulate it. But we had to go, I can't remember if we scored a touchdown or field goal, but we didn't have maybe a minute or less, and we had to go 80 yards. And to see him orchestrate that and just dissect that defense, and, everything is always a little faster during game time, and you see it, and he like, get on the line. He throw a pass, and we way back here. We got to try to sprint up to the line, and he's calling another play. And next thing you know, we win the game. I'm like, man, did that just really happen? Because normally that wasn't my experience in college, because, we were more of I say option team. We were power football. We ran the ball at Texas A&M. So we would throw the ball from times, but nothing like that. So to be a part about that, I said, man, this is a bad man right there. I mean, you see it on TV, but when you actually out on the field and see it, that's something special.
That's awesome. That's a good question, Dustin. Great answer.
Thank you.
So, all right, well, appreciate the time, and have a great one, Richmond.
Hey, y'all have a good evening. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yep, thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right, hope you guys enjoyed the show. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and let us know what you think. Have a good one. Peace out.